Awesome. We're starting a unit. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, the recording just started with that. We just started a new unit today. It's unit 4. So we get to learn some new stuff today, starting a whole new topic. Would somebody like to read what we're going to do today, what unit 4 is all about? I think you're going to like it. I think it's naturally an interactive unit. And I think you're going to like that about it. So if I'll have Lizzie read the first 2 and Katie read the second 2, that would be fantastic. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. There you go.
Problems. Is it working?
Yes, I hear you.
Yay. Ooh, okay. First class in a while. It's worked. Okay. What is genetics? Who is Gregor Mendel, and what are the units of hereditary information?
Perfect. Now, Katie. Unless you don't want to read, Katie. Sorry if I am throwing you off. You changed your mind. That's okay. This is a funny word, too. This word is called allele. Allele. So if you guys are thrown off by those words, allele. Draven, do you want to read the next 2? And that's totally fine.
All right. What is an allele? Why do we have 2 alleles for each trait?
Good job. Thanks, guys. I love hearing your voices, especially on a Tuesday kind of Monday because we didn't have class yesterday. Who can tell me why you think you have 2 alleles for each trait? So like your eye color, you have 2 alleles. Your hair color, you have 2 alleles. Your skin color, you have 2 alleles. Your kidney information, you have 2 alleles. Yes. Ooh, I like this, Draven. Why do you think we have 2? Yes. Yes, 1 from each parent. So going back to what we did with reproduction last unit. Yes, perfect, Kayla. Right? You're going to have information that you get from your mom, right? That cell through meiosis. We get 1 cell from mom and 1 cell from dad. We get the egg cell and the sperm cell. They're haploid cells, right? Which means they have half the amount of genetic information. We learned that last unit. When they come together for reproduction, they make that little embryo that we looked at last unit, and that makes it a diploid cell when it reproduces. And half of that genetic information is from mom, and half of it is from dad. And so today in unit 4, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the cell and we're going to go specifically into that nucleus. All right, we're going to look at DNA. DNA, that's what we're going to spend this whole unit talking about, is just DNA. Both your parents have brown hair and blue eyes, and so do you. I love that. Honestly, we get to explore all this stuff. I'm not lying to you. We get to look at why you appear the way you do, why your voice sounds the way it does, why you have some behavioral tendencies that are like your parents. Everything about this unit is about you and how your DNA is reflective of that. And I think you're going to absolutely love it. I think it's naturally, like I said, an interactive unit because it directly relates to you. You can go sit down and start having these conversations at home about why you are the way you are. So what we know is half of those are from mom and half of those are from dad. We just reviewed about those haploid cells. And our chromosomes come in pairs. We kind of know that again from last unit, right? In mitosis, during cell division, our chromosomes that were the same met together and pinned up. This is actually someone's DNA. You can all have one of these done. Did you know that? Have any of you had a sibling lately? And my friend just did this. She did an at-home blood test. So you do a little finger prick, put your blood in a vial, send it away to a lab, and they do this for your baby. No lie. And they are going to unravel the DNA in a lab, and they are going to make this. This is what we call a karyotype. Weird word, Karyo, and then the word type. Karyotype. It is a picture of your DNA, and any of us can have this done. It's called a karyotype. And it just takes your chromosomes in your DNA, it unwinds them, and there are actually enzymes you can put in there that cuts your chromosomes into pieces, and then they actually move them so that you can see them just like this through a process called gel electrophoresis. Okay. These are the different chromosomes in a human. There are 23 pairs. So if you look down here, this is 22. And then these guys down here are 23. You see that there's an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. Does anybody know what gender that is? This is your gender determining chromosomes right here. You're right. Almost right. Wait, almost right. XY is male. All right. So if you are a biological male, this is what your chromosomes look like. We don't have to do any looking at you. If we have a picture of your karyotype, we can tell you. No, that's okay. XX is a female. And so as females, all of our eggs have an X in them because we don't have any Y's to contribute, right? So if you would go in and take one of my egg cells and do one of these pictures of it, you would see an X. As females, genetic females, we have no Y's to contribute, right? When we go through reproduction, the egg has an X chromosome in it, and the male cells, the sperm cells, they actually have both, right? So look at this. Males can contribute the X or the Y chromosome because they have each. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Lizzie. So in reproduction, the female always contributes an X. So the male is actually the gender determining factor. When the sperm cell unites with that egg cell, it can have an X or a Y. So it's whatever we call them, whatever the fastest swimmer is wins, right? It's just like a race. But whatever sperm gets there to that egg first, whatever that sperm cell has in it, it only has an X or it only has a Y. We don't know, right? Through the process of meiosis, it only gets one. That's how we determine what the gender of a baby is. That's how yeah. Yep. So female has only one letter. We only have X's. A female karyotype would look like XX. And the X chromosome would be extra long. Okay. So if the other X would be just as long. The Y chromosome is actually pretty short. Right. And that's important because there's different genetic information between males and females. All right. So much we get to talk about. And it all starts with this guy. Everybody type Mendel into chat. Mendel. Mendel. All right. Have you ever heard the father of the bride called the FOB? Father of the bride. Yeah. Well, I don't want you to remember FOB. I want you to remember the FOG. All right. FOG equals Mendel. Mendel is the father of modern genetics. And we could do a lot of learning about this guy. But all I want you to remember about Mendel is that he is the FOG, father of genetics. Okay? That's the only thing they're going to ask you on the test about this guy. They might want you to know that he found out some of this information by studying pea plants. All right? So if you can remember another thing, remember pea plants. All right? That's all you need to do. So instead of we're using humans as the test specimens, that was just ethically kind of messed up and wrong. He used a species that he could manipulate, which was a plant, and in his case, a pea plant. All right, so yep, he's the FOG, not father of the bride, but father of genetics. He is responsible for starting this learning curve on everything that we know about DNA and how we inherit DNA. Okay. So, Jonathan had been asking about flashcards. Today is flashcard day. So, if you have a piece of paper that you want to fold up and rip into pieces, that would be a great tool to use. Maybe you have an online platform that you go to, a website, and you make virtual flashcards. That would be fine. Maybe you've taken me up on my word and grabbed a pile of flashcards and you have them sitting near your area. Grab those now. Maybe you don't have them and you're like, wow, maybe that she really means it. Maybe I should really make these flashcards to help me learn. You can go get them today, put them on your grocery list, or go to the Dollar Tree and grab some.
Or do you want me to do it one of these days? I'm starting from Unit 1.
Nope, let's just start with today, and that's okay. All right.
But I'm not doing it today, but I could perhaps create something on the quizzes.
Oh, okay, Jonathan. No,
the Quizlet thing.
Sure. So what we're going to do.
Anyone touch it, though, or it'll be bad.
Yep. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we are going to go through some words that are super important for you to know about genetics. I want to say 95% of understanding genetics in Unit 4 is knowing these words. I'm going to say it again. Okay, seriously, about 95% of understanding genetics is knowing the words that we're going to go over right now. Okay, so I'm telling you, if you're going to be the most successful, if you know these words. So challenge yourself to really learn these words this week. That's your goal. All right, learn these words. So let's look through them. I will take volunteers for reading. So you can read the word like I'm going to do on this one, okay? And then read the definition. And then I will expound on it if we need to, all right? I'll do the first one, and then I would love it if somebody does all the flashcards after this. So these are my flashcards. On the front, I would write trait. What is a trait? Well, a trait is an inherited characteristic of an organism. And these are all examples of traits. Are you a tongue roller? Put it in chat. Can you roll your tongue? Milo, can you roll your tongue? Come here. Milo's going to be our first example. Can you roll your tongue? She cannot. She's trying so hard. It's indenting in the middle. It's doing something weird, but you can't make it like a taco. Nope. So, did Mila inherit tongue rolling from me? She didn't. Nope. So she's my kid, but she did not inherit that characteristic, right? Just like you guys. Do you know if that could be your conversation at the dinner table tonight? Who else in your family is a tongue roller, right? What about a hitchhiker's thumb? See how my thumb like points backwards when I give a thumbs up? Anybody want to get on the camera? Like Mila? What's your thumb would look like when you give a thumbs up? This is actually something that you inherit. Did you know that? This is called a hitchhiker's thumb. Some people's thumb don't do that. Does anyone else's arch back like that? Trying to scroll through all my cams. I don't think I see anybody. Yeah, that is an inherited trait. What about freckles? Yep. Like if you give a thumbs up, it just stays pointing back like that. Does anybody have freckles? I have freckles. I have freckles. What about a dimple in your chin? Little dimple right here. Anybody have that? That's a genetic trait. All right, so traits are inherited characteristics of living things. Yep, you're right. You can. And some people are more prone to develop freckles. Yep, dimples and no dimples. That's a trait. All right, next card. Who will read it for me? Lizzie, do you want to read? Awesome. Oh, goodness. I am so sorry. I am a nut. I'm losing my mind.
Hereditary. The passing of traits from parents to offspring. And the little comic strip said, "Why the long face?" And the person is thinking, hereditary.
Good. So that heredity just means that there are genes that are passing from one organism to the next organism. And we know all living things come from what? Other living things. Good. Right. Living things come from other living things, and the way that they do that is through heredity. Awesome job, Lizzie. So again, you could put heredity on the front, the passing of traits from parents to offsprings on the back of that card. The next word, Draven, would you read it for me, is allele.
All right. Allele. An alternate form of a gene for a particular trait. You inherit 2 genes for each trait. One from mom and one from dad.
Awesome. Thank you. So in this, we see that you have an alternate form of a gene. Oh, that was black. I didn't think that's what was going to happen. But all right, that's what you could put on the back of your card, the alternate form of a gene. All right, so this is just showing you that in your DNA, right? Let's pop back to this for a minute. So let's pretend these are the chromosomes from pair 1. See how they look striped or like banded? Does everybody see that? Yes. All right, those, and yes, Janai Kim, 1 second. All right, that is, those bands are these. They're actually the genetic information variant. All right, so those bands code for different things. The one allele, like the allele from mom, is on 1. So the red band on this one is your mom's chromosome. So like the allele for eye color of your mom is right here. And below it is the allele from your dad. You get 1 allele from each parent, right? That codes for a particular trait. Allele. It's a form of a gene.
Mrs. Rivenhouse.
Yes, sir.
So in your all your recordings, does it have all the flashcards things we need?
Anything that I mentioned in class would be in the recordings. Yep.
So does it mention of the unit test stuff though?
All of the things that I would mention that you'd want to put on a flashcard would be on the
All right.
unit test. Yep. Awesome. So an allele. Yes, so all of the recordings will be in our YouTube channel. And if you go into the class and go to content, I will put that, I'll grab it right now, is going to be the recording link. So if you go to that YouTube, says Class Connect Recordings. And then if you click on, let me find it, the biology class recording link, it'll take us to the YouTube channel. And then the YouTube channel has everything in them by unit. So it'll be like a unit 1 playlist, a unit 2 playlist, unit 3 playlist. Unit 4 will start today. Okay. So there's that YouTube channel link right there. Awesome. You're so welcome. Let's move to the next word. Who would like to read the next word? Lizzie, would you like to read?
Gene, the segment of DNA that determines a particular trait.
Perfect. So a gene is what we're talking about by one of those bands in the chromosomes. All right, that is the representation of the genetic information. It's called a gene. All right, like not the genes you wear, right? But that you have a gene that codes for each thing. So I want you to think about like a gene is a recipe in the recipe book, right? So this is the recipe of how mom from mom's eye color to the gene for dad's eye color, for hair color, for all the different things, skin color, for your voice tone, all of those things are going to match up together. So a gene is a segment of DNA that basically codes for a trait, right? A segment of DNA that codes for a trait. Right. Real quick question. Did you have a question, Jonathan? And if
Yes.
you don't mind using
Yes.
if you put those in chat, then I can answer them all as we go.
So is the flashcard stuff also in the review stuff, in the review slides, in where the unit testing is at?
Nope, that won't be the same thing. Nope.
So, can there all the videos be added on the YouTube channel thing of yours? Because I don't know, they record all of them on there.
Yep.
But
So I would just start with what I just start right here, right now, with these words right here. Okay. Don't stress about going back at this point unless you really want to. But I would like you just to start right here today. Okay.
I would really want to, but I'm not doing it today.
Okay.
But it'll be
Well, let's talk about the flashcards, just you and me later then, okay?
all right. I'll do the matchup flashcards on Quizlet, but that's
Okay.
why I was asking to see if I could do on there.
Okay. Awesome. So let's keep moving so that we can get through these words today, okay? The next word that we're going to look at is called phenotype. Phenotype. Draven, would you read about what a phenotype is? Oh, no.
All right.
Do you guys see it?
See what?
Do you see the phenotype slide?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, my computer must just be slow. It's just empty.
Hmm.
Oh,
All
all right. Well, you just read it because you can see it even if I don't.
right. Phenotype. An observable expression of a trait. The picture you see. Example, blue eyes, brown eyes, blonde hair, etc.
Perfect. I can't see the slide, so I can't tat this one up. But what I would do, or if somebody wants to do it for me, since I can't, is phenotype. Starts with PH. Could someone circle that for me? It just says failed to load slide on mine. Phenotype. PH. Phenotype reminds me of the word physical. All right, so PH is physical. It's also in the word phenotype. All right, Phenotype is what something physically looks at like, okay? What it looks like, the visual that you can see, all right? Like your phenotype would be your eye color. All right? The phenotype would be the actual color of your eye. So everybody type the color of your eye in chat. I have hazel eyes, brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. Ooh, I like green eyes too. Green, dark brown. My husband has really dark brown, hazel blue, green, ooh, bluish gray. We have pretty eyes in here. I love it, right? Because I said this stuff makes sense. This is interactive because it's who we are. What about our hair color? Everybody type your hair color. Our hair color is a phenotype. Our hair color is a phenotype. You can see it. It's the expression. It's what you can physically see. All right? It's a descriptive thing. Who can tell me what another thing you think would be a phenotype? What would be? Ooh, skin color. Good. Freckles. Good. That would be a phenotype. All of those. Ooh, long eyelashes. Absolutely. It's something you can see. It's in your genes. What about your height? Yes, they're in your ears. You can see them. Your lip shape, right? If your lips are bigger or if they're thinner. Your nose. Your eyebrow color, nose size, all of these things are phenotypes. You guys are awesome. The amount of body hair, 100%. Even like I get my nails done, but because my nails, nail size, my nails are very thin. They don't grow very long because they're so thin that they just break. But some people have like really long, strong, natural nails. I don't have that. Those are all physical expressions that we can see. So we say that those are the phenotype. It's what the code is coding for, right? So the phenotype is what the code is for. The genotype, can you guys see this? Because it still says slide failed to load on mine. Okay. The genotype is what the actual code is. Darian, can you read what the genotype slide says?
Genotype, the kind of genes an individual carries. A genotype has two letters because you inherit one gene from your mom and one from your dad. Example, B, B, P, P, G, G.
Perfect. So in math, have you ever done something like it says 6 plus X equals 14? Excellent reading, Darian. All right. In math, we use the letter X. Why do we use the letter X? Is there something special about the letter X? Right, Draymond. It's just a placeholder. I mean, they use X, but you could really use any letter, right? Like 6 plus X equals 14 could be the same thing as 6 plus P equals 14, right? It could be anything. Yes, just using any letter. So it's the same way in biology. For our alleles, we use letters, okay? We just use letters, and the letter really means nothing. It's just a placeholder for the genotype. All right? So the genotype is what's on the inside. Again, cannot see my presentation, but if you look on the left-hand side, it should be a piece of DNA. All right? The genotype is what is on the inside. The phenotype is what you see, what is expressive on the outside. Like in the flamingo, you can see the long neck. You can see the pink color, right? You can see the long beak. The physical appearance is what the phenotype is. The genotype, you're right, Lizzie, is what's on the inside. So these, again, are really important flashcards. Genotype is the actual code. Phenotype is the physical expression. I'm going to say that again. The genotype is the code inside the nucleus. It's what the code actually says. The phenotype is the physical expression. All right? How do we feel about that? Genotype and phenotype. Genotype is what's on the inside, what our genes say, the actual code. Phenotype is the physical expression. Ooh, yep, you're getting headed that way, Jenna and Draven. You're on the right conversation. So let's move to the next slide because you guys are moving there yourself. When we're talking about the genotype, right? We have two alleles, one from mom and one from dad. So there are two forms, and you can see that in this slide. There are two forms of alleles that you can get to determine your code. And the first one would be dominant. Dominant. Lizzie, do you want to read that dominant slide for us?
Dominant, an inherited trait that is present even when inherited from only one parent. So in the picture, the bigger kid is a capital A and they are dominant. And the smaller kid is a lowercase a, the recessive.
Perfect. So dominant traits are represented by a big letter. All right. So I want you to put dominant on the card, and then I want you to put a big letter on the back. All right. The dominant allele is given the definition dominant because it's the strongest. If you receive a dominant allele from your mom or your dad, it doesn't matter. It's going to be expressed. That means it's going to show up in your phenotype, right? Good. Dominant is represented by a big letter. So let's look at what the other form of allele is. You can get a dominant allele, or Darian, you can get a recessive allele. Darian, can you read about a recessive allele?
Recessive, the form of the gene that shows up only when inherited from both parents. Example, this person inherited two alleles for blue eyes. Blue eyes are a recessive trait. The blue eyes only show when two genes are inherited for blue eyes. If only one trait for blue eyes is inherited, it will not show in the phenotype.
Excellent reading. So recessive is represented by a little letter. So you have a big A represents the dominant allele, and the little a that is representative of the recessive allele. And that takes us to our next word, homozygous. I'm trying to remember what comes next from my memory because I can't see the slides. What does the prefix homo mean? Homo means what? Dissect those words. Somebody dissect that word on the screen for me. Same. All right.
Mrs. Rivenhouse. So there's 5 videos inside Unit 1, right?
Okay, let's talk about this in 1 minute. Sorry, Jonathan. Let's get through class and then let's talk about the videos and flashcards at the end. Just let me say this really, really quick because class is getting ready to end. Homozygous is when you have the same. So if you are homozygous for a trait, that means you have 2 of the same allele. That means you got a dominant big B from dad and a dominant big B from mom. So big B is called being homozygous for a trait. All right, if you inherited a little b from dad and a little b from mom, we call that also homozygous recessive. Okay, so we have being homozygous dominant or homozygous recessive. The only time that we see the phenotype for a recessive trait is if you are homozygous recessive, meaning that there are two small alleles or two recessive alleles. That's the only time you see the recessive trait expressed. Yes, we do. We have a quiz today on this. So that's why I'm trying to kind of run through this. All right. So if homozygous is being the same, what would heterozygous be? What do you think? If homozygous means you get the same allele type from each parent, what do you think being heterozygous would mean? You're right. Hetero means different. And you're absolutely right. Heterozygous means that you're going to get two alleles, one from mom and one from dad, and they're going to be different. Which allele would be expressed in a heterozygous genotype? Would the dominant allele be expressed as the phenotype, or would the recessive allele be expressed as the phenotype? Yeah, you're right. The dominant allele would be expressed. Anytime that poor recessive allele is standing next to that recessive allele, it's not going to show. It's not going to be an expressed trait. Okay? Last word, are you ready? The last word is a tool. It's called a Punnett square. Have you ever used a Punnett square in like life science classes? Punnett squares, I don't know what it says it is. I forget who read last, but Darian or Lizzie, would you read that slide for me? Somebody just pop on and read it because I can't see it. Or Draven? Will somebody read the Punnett square slide? Oh, Mike's.
Punnett square, a tool used to analyze possible breeding outcomes.
Perfect. So a Punnett square is basically a genetics tool. All right. It helps us find out if this is what we know the dad's genotype is, and this is the mom's genotype. We can find out all the different genetic possibilities using the Punnett square. All right. It's a fun tool. It's like Foursquare, and I'm going to make it super easy for you. Okay. We're not going to do that today, though. Those words were the focus of our lesson today. So what you're going to do is you're going to level up today. There is going to be a quiz that should be opened at the end of class. I know time flies when you're having fun. So take that quiz today. It's going to help make this more solid. What else can you do? Go back and listen to this recording. What else can you do? You can get the flashcards or cut paper and make flashcards as you watch the recording. Or make notes and write the words in different colors, each word in a different color. I don't know what you're going to do, but I need you. Yes, I will love that, Naya. Send that to me. Okay? Level up today. Make these go into that brain, into your memory. Help them start penetrating in there. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, okay? Thanks for being here and being so fun and being the teacher and reading. You guys are awesome. Get some rest, feel better soon, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Now can I say it talked about this thing?
Sure, Donald.
Is there